Hello, I'm Kenneth Noble. Um, I'm sure a lot of you have seen me as we've progressed here at Rasmussen through the graphic design courses. I know I've seen several of you. I'm going to go over some of the portfolio pieces that I chose. Um, I know as an artist, I'm pretty critical on myself, and it's a common attribute of artists. Although I know a lot of us are growing in a lot of ways, these are some of my better pieces. They're not perfect, but I'm pretty happy with them, happy enough to utilize them to kind of represent myself in a professional manner. So we're going to get started. The first one I have here is a PDF, and part of the reason it's a PDF is because it's a black poster. And when I show it off in the JPEG form of the normal showing, it's black on all sides, so you kind of lose the attributes of the poster itself. It's an event poster that I created in Print Design. I utilized Photoshop for the imagery. I utilized Illustrator for my logo, Guildhall Games. And I utilized InDesign to kind of bring it back all together to compile the pieces and put them in an eye-pleasing manner. So it's for a fictitious game store that I represented in the class. And I really like the layout. It draws you in, the dark coloring, um, the large, simple statement, $5 event fee, prizes for the top three. That's what you see. And you see Dungeons and Dragons players, so you kind of know who it's referring to. Quickly and easily get to your information, and then you can find out where to go. So it's one of my pieces that I really like. Another one of my pieces, another print piece. This represents the inside of a card. We've got the side here and that right and left side, and we would be split down the middle, theoretically. I threw Happy Halloween on one side and then a little saying on this side, just kind of to give it a Halloweeny atmosphere. This is a photograph that I took and I darkened and did some colorations too. Um, I used Photoshop for literally all of that other than the photography I used to bring it together. And then of course we've got the outside cover here. I'm really proud of this piece, partly because it was one of the first pieces I did for the classes when I first started. It's one of the pieces I did when I first started, and it wasn't even a homework assignment or a project piece, actually. It was an extra piece that I did for extra credit. Todd Jerds, Jerdes um, said, "Hey, you want extra credit? Make a card for this season." And this is one of the cards that I made. This is a picture that I took. And what I really like about it is it really draws your attention here. And so if you don't pay attention, you're like, oh wow, okay, yeah, that's kind of Halloweeny. I can get behind that. I get that. But if you pay more attention, you can see the specter down here, or the little ghost back over here, to kind of really put you in that kind of Halloweeny mood that I tossed in there. I was really happy with it. I think the picture, all in all, in and of itself, is framed really well. These images were created by bringing in actually other images that I had. I cut them out and then I modified them through the use of a lot of different other brushes and utilizing the negatives to do that. Opacity, burn brush, a bunch of different styling techniques to get them to look ghosty. So, and then we come over here, and this is also something I really like, is the logo. That is another photograph that I took. I created this design, like I said, shortly. It was just starting out. Water tower designs for my cards. I put it on all the different cards I designed. This is the one card that made it. This is a unique UPC code that I didn't create. I got off of a Creative Commons Zero, so it's utilizable for my work. And then of course I put some text in there to show cost. Let's move on. So that was mostly Photoshop, actually, all Photoshop and photography there. This piece was also created in Photoshop. Um, I'm from Brainerd Baxter, Minnesota. I grew up, those are my stomping grounds: Brainerd, Baxter, Nisswa, Breezy Point, Pequot Lakes, Merrifield. Um, I did a lot of biking, a lot of fishing, a lot of outdoors stuff up there. Enjoyed my lakes while I had them. I'm currently down in southern Minnesota near Mankato now. But this was a project I did before I came to Rasmussen. It's a Photoshop piece. I used the center eye focus, and then I brought everything outside. I blurred it so that way I could put in my type without it really getting in the way. We are to take a photo and then create an ad campaign, basically an event poster again for it. I chose Brainerd JC's Ice Fishing Extravaganza. Some of you may have been there, some of you may have heard of it, maybe you haven't heard of it at all. It's a pretty popular one. The colorations that I did was Brainerd's colors are blue, white, and gray or silver. So I utilized that here, and then I kind of went with this yellow orange. What I wanted to do was just be able to get it so it's very readable without hurting the eyes, and I think it does a really good job of that. Um, White obviously would blend in too much in the background, and black was almost just, it was too dark. And I felt like this color really took advantage of that. Um, I'm going to find the original Photoshop if I can of this, because it's actually a couple of years old, um, and adjust this just a little bit, because I feel like it, first of all, get rid of the hyphenations and then adjust this just a little bit. It was supposed to look, not exactly, I wasn't doing the absolute typography of it, but kind of like the state of Minnesota. And I'm a little out here, and I think I can adjust that and get that a little better. So, but that's that piece. Like I said, mostly Photoshop. That was actually all Photoshop there. I didn't use InDesign at that time. Here we got another print piece. This one is a brochure for the print design class. Once again, my logo, Guildhall Games. The thing about this was I'm not really into all these bright, extravagant colors. I do think that purple is absolutely gorgeous, and that blue is attractive, and I like orange, but it's really in your face. But that's kind of the point of a brochure. It needs to stand out from all the other ones. So I felt this did a good job. This was created once again with Illustrator, Photoshop, and InDesign, bringing it all together, compiling that, doing the texts on it, modifying and moving it around. So this would be the front, this would be the back, and then of course this would be an inner middle panel where you get your coupons on the inside. And then we have the inside. I count this as a single piece, just like I count the card that I did as a single piece, inside outside. And so you got your card games, your tabletop, and your board games, and kind of explains each and emphasizes the day of the week that each one is on. So when you want to join, you can. And I think it has great consistency. I thought about utilizing borders for the images, but the borders just felt like it was too much, because it's kind of like a border then. It was just overwhelming. So I think it looks nice. It's clean, and it definitely says what it needs to say. It gets across its message, I think, fairly well there. The next ones I'm going to go into are video. This one is motion graphics. It's done with all in After Effects, a Stranger Things theme based public service announcement. I think it shows off our skills pretty well. But I wanted to go a little bit further with that, and hopefully you'll be able to hear these just as well. We'll start with this one because it relates to motion graphics. This is the one we did with the teacher. So what I did with this one is I put some music behind it, and I thought that really kind of gave it a lot more life. We did this over the course of several projects. This is all the projects coming together for kind of a finished course type project, and then I added some credits there at the end, um, to make sure I get my accreditations to the right people, that they're there, so I'm not seen as a plagiarizer. That is one piece that I'm not putting in quite yet. I've emailed John Mendiola to ask him if I could use that for my portfolio piece because that's primarily him. And out of respect, if he gets back to me, I think it'll be all right. But until he gets back to me on that, which he hasn't quite yet, I should send another email. Then it's not going to go in if I don't get that okay back from him. But it's such a great piece to show our ability off, to show all the different things we've done that I'd really hate to keep that pulled.
Pinter's
And then
Crab
what I
Shack
did
is a fun,
here
family-friendly atmosphere with loud
is,
music, vibrant
as you guys
colors,
can
and the
see, it's
freshest
from
seafood
Paradise
in town.
Cove
And
in our
kids
video
always eat free.
productions class.
You're always on vacation at Pinter's. It's some of the freshest seafood that we're
And
pulling right out of the Gulf of Mexico.
I was setting
And
it up like
everything
a
is
30-second
fresh. It's like we
commercial.
say, we can't fake fresh. We own our own crab house, the Island Crab Company, so everything we're controlling straight from the water to your table. Yeah, grouper and stone crabs are the only things that you can get right out of the Gulf of Mexico. So literally, when you come to Southwest Florida, that's what you want, and that's what you get here at Pinter's.
So what I did is, I was thinking, well, 4.5 minutes of footage, I don't think anybody's going to sit through that, especially if it's not relevant. So I cut it down into a 30-second commercial. Unfortunately, Pinter's has some pretty terrible background audio for his interview, um, but I did my best work that I could for that. But yeah, so those are the pieces I'm including. I hope to hear your choice of criticism or compliments or whatever you have to say about it. I really actually invite criticism. I understand my pieces aren't perfect, and I have a lot of places that I can grow, and sometimes it's hard to judge yourself. So please feel free to give some criticism. Toss in some compliments. You don't have to take me down too many notches, but I appreciate to hear what you have to say about that. So thank you for watching, and thank you for responding.